Hello everybody and welcome to another product review video, and I am excited about this one. I've been looking forward to this product review. Today we are going to talk about Nolzur? Sure, why not? Marvelous Miniatures. So these are a new line of minis that are made for both Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. They are made by WizKids, produced in conjunction with Wizards of the Coast. And there's not a huge selection of them out right now, but there are quite a few of them, and they're really interesting, and I want to talk to you about them. So, what are they? Well, there are two ranges, besides just D&D and Pathfinder. There are sort of monsters, which you can see here. There's a nice 2-pack of Mind Flayers. And then there's also like a hero pack, which you can see the kind of difference there. The heroes have the extra little halfling rogue or whatever. Some of them say like human female cleric, things like that. When you buy the packs of human-sized people, they are you get two of them, and they're both basically the same. By that, what I mean is you get two, when they're sort of weirdly packaged, you get, two halfling clerics or something like that, right? You don't get different minis. So, like, if you buy the human male paladin set, then what you end up with is two human male paladins. You don't get, like, a paladin and a fighter or something like that. They are... With the monsters, it makes more sense because you'd want, say, multiple Mind Flayers. So, for example, here are the Halfling Rogues. And I tried to actually go ahead and prep one of them up so you could see what they look like. Just to make the detail pop a little better. As you can see, they're actually quite highly detailed. You can see all our little bags and stuff like that on there. So, realistically, the detail on these is pretty good. Like, you look at her face is pretty sharp. There's the other little rogue. You can see she's in a bit more of an action pose. Here's the human female monks. One has a chain. The one with the chain has kind of a squidgy face. You can't see it. This one's been zenithal, so you can see how she shows up. They're dynamic enough. Their poses tend to be interesting. Some of them have clear plastic on them with like magical effects or fire or something like that. I'm not sure the value of that, but it's interesting, I guess. They're not hyper detailed, but they're acceptable detailed. That being said, the advantage to these is, let's go ahead and bring back the Mind Flayer, and I'm sure you already probably noticed this, and that is the price tag. In addition to what you're getting here is two, man-sized minis for $4 or a single monster for $4. So in addition to the Mind Flayers and the Rogues and the Monks, I also picked up a Troll, and I went ahead and did a little speed paint on the Troll just to show you how he turns out. So you get this big Troll for $4. He's a pretty sizable dude. If you compare him there to the Halfling Monk, you can see how big he is. Now, notably, the size of these are true 28 millimeter, so they're actually a little small. I'm going to compare it here to a Stormcast just because it's what I have on hand, and you can see sort of the size comparison there. Now, Stormcast are pretty big anyways, but, that's quite a size difference if we put her feet on the same place. Now, part of that's because this is a big, bulky dude in armor. That being said, if we compare her to, say, let's pick up a little Skaven. There you go. So you can see they're a little smaller scale, but it's not too bad. Here, we'll bring in the little halfling and compare her to the Skaven. Pretty close. I don't think, honestly, you notice the difference. Where you tend to notice it is with the, ironically, with the bigger, more muscular guys, because they don't get as big and sort of over the top as a lot of other as a lot of, say, Games Workshop current miniatures do. Like the human barbarians are smaller than, say, your average marauder or something. So at two of these for $4 or a single monster, this is obviously competing with bones. Now, material-wise, these are a hard resin. They're not like bones where they're a PVC plastic or anything like that. I mean, I don't. They feel resin at least. They're pretty solid. They do come pre-primed. According to this, it's pre-primed with Vallejo. Seems nice enough. Obviously, I still primed over mine and still would. And one of the reasons you have to do that is because mold lines are still a thing. There wasn't a tremendous amount of scraping I had to do with these, but every miniature had mold lines. And they are exactly where you would expect them to be, you know, like on the hands of these tiny blades, you know, basically down the middle of the figure where the mold came together is exactly where you get the standard mold lines and exactly where you have to scrape them. It's nothing new. It's more or less what every sort of resin miniature like that did. That being said, they're all one piece, quite obviously. There's no gluing or anything like that. And because they're not that soft PVC of bones, you can do things like have these chains or this staff and have them be pretty straight. You can see that's just slightly bendy, but that's not too bad. But this is, you know, nice and solid. I can sit there and bend it out of place. It just snaps right back. So it's a nice solid material. They seem to take normal primer quite well, which isn't surprising. If they've been pre-primed with Vallejo, you can put that right over the top. They've got sort of, as you can tell, a white primer out of the gate, which I think you could paint directly on this. I know other people who've looked at these have said that the Vallejo primer is good enough. You can just go right over the top without issue. So if you are the type of person where you don't need to do zenithal or don't want to lay down anything extra, I don't think you need to prime anything else. Range-wise, there's my store at least, where I got mine. There's probably about 30 of these or 40 of these total right now, different options between the monsters. Some of them are clear, like I'm trying to think of the Hellhounds were clear plastic. Again, I don't know why. I don't think you would paint them clear like fire, but I guess you could. And overall, I think these are really a pretty amazing deal. For the level of detail and the unusual, like, there aren't a lot of good halfling figs in the world. And these little halflings are really great. I was so impressed by all the little bags and jangles, but it's not over the top. And so quality on these I would rate well above what you expect to get for $4, especially effectively they're $2 a piece. Especially at that price point. These are in direct competition with bones. Now, on the level of, you know, number of them available, as I said, there's maybe 35 or 40 out there. Bones crushes it as far as the number of options available. But to me, in this human scale range, these are superior to bones in more or less every way. They are as cheap or cheaper. They are a better material. They are more detailed. And they have less sort of scraping you have to do. Like, I had to clean with this girl right here. I had to take like a mold line off the side of the robe, center of the stick, hair. You know, pretty much just exactly what you'd expect, and done. And that was it. You know, just a quick reprime, and she was ready to rock and roll. What I see in bones of this size is not this level of crispness, and I don't see this level of detail on the mini. Now, when it comes to the larger minis, you don't really have many options. There's like a Displacer Beast, a Troll, a Griffin, maybe one or two others. So in that range, there's really no competition there. It's bones or nothing for most cases. That being said, these are perfectly fine, and I do think $4 for a monster of this size is a pretty square deal when it comes right down to it. So, overall, I think these are pretty great. If you wanted to use them for, obviously, RPGs as they're intended, I think they're perfect for that. They have a lot of unusual miniatures you don't normally have. For example, the Mind Flayers, the Halflings, Gnomes, other small people like that there's just not a lot of ranges of out there right now. Interesting things like the Hellhounds and the Blink Dogs. That's a very weird one, but they have a 2-pack of Blink Dogs. So if that's what you've always been searching for, Blink Dogs, they've got you covered. I think using these as heroes in something like Warhammer could be possible. Like, I think these Mind Flayers could make pretty awesome Sorcerers of Tzeentch or something like that with their weird faces and tentacles. If you're talking about, like, mainline heroes, though, where, like, warrior heroes, I think you're going to find some of them to be a little on the smaller side. If that doesn't bother you, that they're just slightly smaller scale, because they're true 28, as opposed to sort of a heroic 28, which really means they're 32. If that size differential doesn't bother you, then they're also a great place to pick up some hyper cheap heroes for your games of Age of Sigmar or something like that. So check them out. One thing I will say, I didn't pick them up, but they did have some really great 2-pack of Orcs and Gnolls that I think are the next two I'm gonna get. The Orcs looked fantastic, beautiful, expressive, open mouths, screaming. So if you're into the Orcs and Goblins, maybe check that out, because those could make some pretty awesome greenskins for you. Overall, I've got to give these a. I was torn on this grade beforehand. I've got to give them a solid B+. And the reason for that is the details a little soft in some of the faces. There's still a little bit of scraping, and the range is somewhat limited. All that being said, it's sharp enough, it's detailed enough for what you're paying, right? At $4, I mean, I don't think you can complain. So, one final note, why HD? Can we stop using these 2 letters for everything in the universe? That's just a personal ask from me to the universe. Please stop throwing HD on everything. Okay, it was fine when it was like televisions or a DVD. These are just miniatures. But overall, B+, great pickup. Check your friendly local game store. See if there's something in the range that would help you in either your RPGs or your tabletop war games. And I painted my troll, and let me tell you what, next up, I'm excited to paint this little girl, so we're going to go for that next. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the product review of Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures. Give it a like if you liked it. Share this if you know anybody else who might be interested in this product or want to check it out. And as always, subscribe for more product reviews, hobby cheating, and other videos in the future. And we'll see you next time.